This morning, officials are looking for connections in a series of illnesses and deaths linked to vaping and illegal vape cartridges made in Kenosha.
And a fatal car accident in Monona causing power outages this morning. MG&E is on the scene to help.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for joining us on your Tuesday, September 17th. Yes, it is mid-September. Feels a little bit more like mid-July, though, doesn't it?
It's weird. It just feels
does.
weird.
It's the last full week of summer, so
Okay.
I guess it's going to feel like summer.
There you go.
We are not trending downward in those temperatures. In fact, we've warmed things up a little bit more towards the end of the week.
Ooh.
That's a nice shot, though. Take a look from the WISC-TV sky camera looking to the east. Nice to see the sunrise today. We didn't see anything yesterday with the fog. There is still some fog in the area, but it's not as widespread as it was yesterday. Visibility's down to less than a mile in Watertown and Monroe, and it gets a little thick as you head towards Lake Michigan. Otherwise, here in Madison and Dane County, we're not seeing a huge issue with fog this morning. Temperatures are actually up a few degrees here in Madison, 63. I think the clouds are helping us out a little bit this morning. Still to the west, temperatures are in the 50s. It's going to be another warm and humid day with highs reaching the low 80s this afternoon. Look for plenty of sunshine this afternoon with light southeast winds. Here's a look at your traffic maps early this morning. We'll see what's happening on area roads. A few brake lights starting to show up at Stoughton Road and the Beltline. That's pretty typical for this time of the morning. In and around Dane County, though, no major issues to report. That's your first alert traffic.
Well, after yesterday, anything could be better than the mess that we had to deal with during the commute.
Yeah, you should be able to go a little faster this morning.
All right, some good news, Hattie. Thank you.
First this half hour, and breaking into the Channel 3000 Alert Center overnight, a 21-year-old Madison man is dead after a car crash in Monona.
That crash caused power outages to many homes and businesses in the area. Keely Arthur joins us live off of Winnequa Road with the very latest. Keely, good morning to you.
Good morning, Josh and Leah. We are just steps away from where that crash happened. Authorities say a 21-year-old Madison man slammed into a pole. The accident causing power outages overnight into this morning. Madison Gas and Electric on the scene right now trying to fix the situation. You can see there are still some power lines that are down right now. Now, News 3 Now is here in the immediate aftermath of this accident around 7:20 last night. Authorities say the victim was driving at high speeds when he went off the road, hitting the pole. This all happened at the 4600 block of Winnequa Road, a residential area in Monona. The Monona Fire Department and police responded here. The Dane County Medical Examiner's Office also on hand. Now, the only silver lining to really all of this is the fact that the 21-year-old driver was the only person in the car, the only person killed, the only person injured. But some residents still experiencing those power outages this morning. When we spoke to MG&E, they said about 20 homes in this Monona residential place. But hopefully the power will get back on in the next few hours as we head into the start of our day. We'll bring you live updates as we get them. Back to you.
Keely Arthur reporting for us this morning. Thank you very much, Keely.
Time right now is 6:03. The brother of a Fitchburg teen who was shot and killed 3 weeks ago says it's difficult to think about the future 17-year-old Shay Watson will never get. Imani Jones sat down for an exclusive interview with News 3 Now. He was traveling in Vietnam when he got a FaceTime call telling him Shay was dead. Fitchburg police say the teen was shot to death at his home on Lyman Lane, just off of Fitch Hatchery Road. Officers have not made any arrests and are still saying very little about this investigation. Imani says some of his family members are consumed with getting justice for Shay and finding his killer. But he says for him, knowing he'll never spend another holiday with Shay or see him cross important milestones is much more difficult.
That's the hardest part, to not have a little brother at your wedding anymore. Or when people ask you how many brothers do you have, I don't know what to say anymore. You know, like I had 4, now I have 3. Like, you know, it's like that part that's really tough for me.
The Fitchburg police chief says detectives do have leads that they are actively pursuing, and they're still asking for the public's help in finding the killer. If you have any information, you are urged to call Crime Stoppers.
New this morning, illegal vaping cartridges made by 2 Kenosha County brothers are being tested to see if they're connected to any illnesses or deaths. Tyler and Jacob Huffins were charged with a combined 8 felonies in court yesterday. An informant said Tyler was the head of the drug manufacturing operation. Police found nearly 130,000 vaping cartridges and more than 100 pounds of THC oil in a condo they used a fake identity to rent.
It's now grown to a point where, by my calculation, from the product that was removed from the residence would have an approximate street value of $2.2 to $2.5 million. This is a very, very large criminal enterprise.
Tyler's attorney says the high street value quoted there is ridiculous. Officers found the products were 150 times stronger than the potency labeled on the packaging.
New information now. The man found in a bunker in Portage County last month now faces 9 more charges of child pornography after appearing in court yesterday. Jeremiah Button's trial starts a week from tomorrow after hiding in his handmade bunker for more than 3 years. Prosecutors found out they won't be able to use video interview testimony of the alleged victim at trial since she's now older than 16. They can, however, use evidence of flight during the trial.
He indicated voluntarily to officers that he planned, once he posted the $25,000 cash bail, that he bought various provisions so that he could have a place to live, including $6,000 worth of canned goods. He buried them, that he had no intention of showing up to court.
Even though Button disappeared before the first scheduled trial, he still doesn't face charges for his time allegedly spent in hiding.
Looking ahead now, a former Meriter hospital nurse facing 19 felony counts of child abuse is preparing to enter a plea. Court records show Christopher Capeham worked inside the neonatal intensive care unit between March of 2017 and February of 2018, when 9 babies were abused. A motion hearing is scheduled for the end of September for Capeham. The trial is set to begin in October.
Members of the Madison Landmarks Commission are breaking with the recommendation of Common Council. They came to a decision about a historic home in the city last night. A few months ago, we first told you about this house, 121 Langdon Street. It was built in 1980 or 1886 rather, and has been storied past in Madison, landing a spot on the city's list of landmarks in 1974. Over the past years, the Landmarks Commission has been trying to get the owner to make necessary repairs to the property, and he didn't until they had filed for demolition by neglect, which allows the city to step in if necessary. The Common Council said since the repairs were finally made, the commission should rescind the finding, but the former Landmarks Commission chair said that would be a mistake.
Think of the message this sends to other developers. You can screw around with a landmark property for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. If you're finally caught and the building inspection writes up orders and the Landmarks Commission finds demolition by neglect, if at the end of all that you finally fix the building, the city council will say no harm, no foul.
Levitan said he was happy to see the Landmarks Commission not rescind the finding. Now the commission will wait until the rest of the work on the home is done to reconsider, and that's expected to be in November.
In Rock County, you can now check out books at the Janesville Mall. The Hedberg Public Library opened an express location there yesterday. The mall is not charging the library to rent the space. Pretty cool. You can stop by Monday through Saturday from 10 until 4.
More local news now. Edgewood College is planning to lay off some faculty and staff and reduce the number of majors they offer. They say it's because of a big decrease in student enrollment, leading to less money coming in. Now, it's still unclear how many employees will lose their jobs. The college needs to be a 13-to-1 student to faculty ratio by fall of 2020. to have income and expenses aligned. As for the majors, some arts and sciences programs that aren't as popular among students will be cut, but we're told if a student is currently pursuing that degree, they'll get to continue. Plans for what's being cut will go to the college's Board of Trustees by November 15th.
6:09 your time now. You have the opportunity to nominate your child's teacher or principal for a $6,000 award. The Herb Cole Educational Foundation is now accepting applications for the Teacher Fellowship and Principal Leadership Awards. Parents, teachers, students, community members, and school administrators can submit nominations online at coleeducation.org. 100 teachers and 16 principals will receive $6,000 each, plus a matching $6,000 grant for their school. The deadline is October 8th.
A national report on addressing climate change is highlighting Dane County's efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. How We Respond features 18 communities that have launched projects to adapt climate change or reduce carbon footprints. Dane County's effort includes a building where methane from a landfill is converted into renewable energy gas that has a much smaller carbon footprint than traditional fossil fuels. The report also acknowledges the county's biodigester, saying that turning cow manure into methane generates electricity and limits agricultural runoff, which also causes algae blooms in lakes.
All right, still ahead this morning. It's probably something you're not thinking about, especially as it still feels like summer out there, but it is almost flu season. Up next, we're going to tell you why now might be the time to get the shot, as we get the shots ourselves.
Yeah, I'm having a panic attack already.
Oh boy.
All right, but first, it is going to be another warm day with temperatures reaching 80 degrees. Beautiful shot of the sunrise on a Tuesday morning. You're watching News for Now this morning. Hattie will have your forecast when we come back.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio on this Tuesday morning. We're not dealing with as much fog as we were yesterday, which is great news. Yesterday's highs were in the 80s, and I show this map because we'll be right back there again today. Not a whole lot has happened to change the air mass here in southern Wisconsin, so persistence really is the best forecast. Highs are expected to climb into the low 80s across southern Wisconsin, 70s as you get a little closer to the lake. Now, so far for the month of September, we're about halfway through the month and we're running quite a bit above normal. We are running over 2 degrees above normal when you factor in the daytime highs and the nighttime lows. And we've shaded in the boxes for the rest of this week right through Saturday because temperatures are expected to remain above normal. So a very mild end to summer. Summer officially starts next Monday. Now, we are dealing with a little bit of fog, as I mentioned. The dense fog advisory, though, trimmed back to just the lakeshore counties this morning, and that goes until 10 o'clock. Here's a look at current visibility. It's improved in Janesville, back up to 3 miles, but Watertown and Monroe still dealing with visibility at 3/4 of a mile. As you get a little bit closer to the lakeshore areas, visibility drops to 1/4 or 1/2 of a mile. The sunshine should take care of that fog by 10 o'clock this morning. And here's a look at our sky camera shot from the Edgewater Sky Cam. We are seeing a little bit of that sunshine early this morning here in Madison. No issues with fog in the capital city. Temperature is 63 here in Madison. It's also 63 in Janesville, 61 in Camp Douglas, 57 though in Watertown. Dew points are hovering right around 60 degrees, and unfortunately, they're going to go up again today. It'll feel humid this afternoon with highs in the middle 60s. Here's a look at your future track forecast model. Temperatures climbing through the 60s this morning as sunshine heads our way for the afternoon. 70s already by lunchtime. We're looking at highs in the low 80s this afternoon with a light southeast wind. Staying pretty comfortable this evening with temperatures dropping back into the 70s by 7 p.m. We'll bottom out in the 60s overnight. A dry forecast continues for the area through Wednesday with a high of 81 degrees. There is a chance for some rain Wednesday night into Thursday. Believe it or not, it's with a cold front, but that front is pretty weak and it's not really going to drop temperatures or humidity. We have to wait until Sunday for a break in the humidity. Let's get a look at your first alert traffic maps now. It's time of the morning that we send it over to Jason Stone for all the details. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning. No issues on the Beltline so far this morning as commuters make their way through the Stoughton and Verona interchanges. Vehicles are lining up on Verona Road at Highway PD. Wait times are expected to increase throughout the morning. All other routes into Madison and around Dane County are clear. No problems heading downtown or moving around the Capitol Square and campus at this time. With your first alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Jason and Hattie, thank you both very much. So we're pretty sure nobody likes getting shots, but as we get closer to fall, it's time to start thinking about getting your flu shots.
Oh yeah, Josh and I are certainly thinking about it because we're about to get it. Joanna is a nurse practitioner. She is here to hold our hand through all of this and then also tell us why this is so important. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we hear a lot from folks, at least I do on social media, you know, I don't need to get the flu shot, I never get sick, or it's not as effective as people say it is. What do you say to those folks?
You know, they have to do the best guess way early in the year of what's going to come around as far as strains. And so they're developing these vaccines for months before they come up to help us. And so it's really important just because you might not be getting sick, but you might eventually, and there are other people around you that will get sick. You might be at the grocery store and have some sniffles and sneeze, and you got an elderly woman right next to you that can die from it.
Right.
And so it's really nice to be able to protect your health, yourself, but also the population.
Herd immunity, right?
Exactly.
What kind of symptoms are we talking about here?
So main symptoms, and it can vary, sometimes it's really subtle, but mainly it's kind of like you felt like you got hit by a truck. Very sudden onset of symptoms, fevers, chills, body aches, sore throat, headaches, sinus symptoms, cough, any of these things or all of these things.
All right, down to brass tacks. We know how important this is, so we are about to get our own flu shots. Why don't you start with me, Joanna?
All righty, sounds good.
How you doing over there? John's a little nervous.
We'll get you guys alcohol first.
I've been having a panic attack the last 15
I'll get you
minutes.
On
This side. All right.
Yeah, as you can see, Josh had to take
I had to
off
get
his
undressed.
tie.
Yeah. This was a lot of work.
Anything for your health.
Exactly. And you typically will get immunity within 2 weeks of getting the vaccine, so this is a really good time to get it. So good job, guys.
Yeah, trying to do it ahead of the season.
So is the nasal spray, is that not as popular anymore? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the thing with the nasal spray is it was really great because people didn't have to get the shot, but it wasn't effective.
Oh, God.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just going to look away
and you're
here.
not a
I can't do
bleeder,
needles.
so that's great. Do you want a Band-Aid? You look good.
I'm okay.
All right, cool.
For now.
Oh, is she coming over here?
I'm coming to get you.
Oh, my God.
Oh, hello. There goes Mike.
Keep
this
going.
This is live TV, folks.
There we go.
Oh, there goes.
If that's the worst thing that happens, we're okay.
Exactly. You know what? It's all good. Better than the vaccine.
You want to hold my hand?
All right, sit up and then just relax your arm as much as you can. There you go.
Relax.
You
can
got
do
this.
it.
You got this.
So yeah, that nasal flu, it is now available again. It's just certain populations can get it. You didn't believe either. Good job.
Look at that. See, that was not so bad, folks. Quick and painless.
I do this every year, but I don't look forward to. But no, nobody really looks forward to getting a shot. I don't think. But
No, but it's a good thing. It's better than getting sick. That's what I say.
It's
better
sure.
than getting your grandma sick or your
Yeah,
kids.
and getting complications like pneumonia,
Exactly.
death, among some other things, other infections that can happen with flu.
real quick, how soon should people get in to get their shot?
They can go at any time
Okay.
now. Typically, we'd like you to get it by the middle of October.
Okay.
Typically, could start October, November, and through March. Sometimes later is how long flu happens,
Okay.
but it's never too late. It's good to have at any time, but preferably sooner than later.
All right.
Thank you very much, Joanna. We appreciate it.
I can honestly say I've never had that happen on TV before. So.
Good job, guys.
Thank you very much. All right, still ahead this morning. Less than a week until the first day of fall. Can you believe it? And we're starting to wonder when summer is actually going to fade. Chris Reese is in studio this morning to give us an outlook of when we might expect some autumn conditions.
But first, let's take a live look outside on a Tuesday morning as we're waking up with pretty clear conditions out there. Beautiful shot of the sunrise. Hattie has your bus stop forecast when News 3 Now This Morning continues.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. Take a look at this beautiful sky camera shot behind me. We have the Capitol looking at mostly clear skies or mostly cloudy skies at this time, but turning mostly sunny as we go towards the afternoon. Let's take a look at our fog this morning, though. We are dealing with a little bit of fog. Watertown, 3/4 mile visibility. We also have some fog in Monroe. It's down to 1/2 mile visibility there. For the rest of the region, though, fog is not a widespread issue. So while it is mainly south and east of Madison this morning, it's not expected to spread much further to the west, so not as widespread of an issue as yesterday. Now, our temperatures this morning are right around 63 here in Madison. To the east, it's in the 50s this morning, 57 in Juneau, 57 in Watertown. It's pretty comfortable and a little bit closer to normal for this time of the year. Temperatures, though, are going to be anything but normal today. Dew points climb back into the mid-60s, so again, feeling humid. Your bus stop weather forecast has temperatures back in the 70s by lunchtime, once again heading to highs in the low 80s. So feeling a little bit more like summer than the first part of fall. And that's your bus stop weather forecast.
All right, thank you very much, Hattie. Another surge in our Coats for Kids total this morning. We are up almost 300 more just today, bringing the total to 806 coats collected. We could not be more grateful for your help. Thanks to all who have donated their coats and accessories so far. The rest of you, if you'd like to join, still have until October 5th to drop off your donations at any Clinky Cleaners location near you. Now, for those who aren't able to donate winter coats or accessories, this year you can still help out by donating your time. The Community Action Coalition would love to have your help sorting through and hanging coats that come in to their building. That information to get involved is right there on your screen.
All right, 6:25 right now. Today we are just 6 days away from the official start of fall, but based on the forecast we just heard, the weather really isn't quite ready to give up on summer yet.
No, it is not. Chris Reese is here this morning taking a look at this last gasp of summer and when we might finally see a little bit of fall. Hi there, Chris.
Good morning, guys. I have to say, we have a conversation to have on when we might see a little bit of fall because it's not in the forecast yet. We'll talk about how things are shaping up in the long term, but let's take a look back at just the beginning of September. We actually had a little cool stretch within that first week of September, but by the time we got you towards September 9th, things warmed up. We've been warm all the way through the weekend. We were warm yesterday, and I've gone ahead and turned on today through the end of this week and made things above average because that's what our forecast is. That's what's likely to happen. In fact, our average high right now, 71. We're forecasting a high of 72 or 82 rather, headed into this afternoon. So we will see another day, 10 to 13 degrees above normal when it comes to those highs. And we're going to be staying warm as we go through the next 10 days. Look at our averages and then look at the forecast. Well above that average line, even by the time we get you towards the end of the next 10 days, it's possible that we see maybe a day that's around average or just below. But even still, that's a little bit iffy. We're going to bring out my old friend, the jet stream, because this is going to dictate what happens in our weather pattern. One of the things you'll notice, there are two different jet streams, one towards the north and one towards the south. The jet stream towards the north, we call that one the polar jet stream. That controls the availability of that cooler, drier air that brings in the fall-like weather. Towards the south in the green, that's the tropical jet stream. That keeps the warm and humid around, and of course things have been very warm and humid for us. Let's put this into motion. We go towards the weekend and we start to get a little bit of an influence from that polar jet stream. That'll allow for some cooler temperatures, but it's also merged with the tropical jet stream. When these two come together, we call that a phased jet stream. That leads to rain chances around here. If I were to show you the extended forecast, we'd have a rain chance as we head towards the weekend. But then that subtropical jet stream tries to build up a little bit. That brings in the warmer temperatures and it locks up a lot of the cooler air, even in northern Canada. So if you are looking for fall, folks, you've got to go to the other side of the globe. We're talking parts of Russia down towards northern China. That is where the fall-like temperatures are. Unfortunately for us, things are going to be very, very warm and summer-like going through the end of October. So if you have any more questions, feel free to shoot me an email, and we'll talk about this fall conversation. You know, we'll continue the dialogue, but for now, I think we have to wait till October.
I know you're both pretty excited for fall because that's when my birthday is.
Yes, that is exactly why. I have no idea how you knew.
I know you guys are excited to get me some pumpkin spice, perhaps, a candle.
I've already bought the candles. I just haven't lit them yet.
Oh, Chris. How nice.
Oh, my.
Yes.
All right, Chris. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, still ahead for us. We've got the top 3 things you need to know this morning before you head out the door.
And you are taking a live look right now where crews are trying to restore power after a fatal crash in Monona overnight disrupted service. Keely Arthur will have the latest on this breaking overnight story when News 3 Now This Morning returns.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, and thanks for staying with us on this Tuesday, September 17th. I can now breathe easy. We got that flu shot out of the way.
We do. Our arms are a little sore.
Back halfway dress. I'm losing the tie for the rest of the show, though. I feel like I deserve that.
Okay, Josh. You won't need a tie later on today. Look at the sky. We have a beautiful sunrise underway. 80s are in the forecast.
Loving that. We will check in with Hattie's forecast in just a second. But first, here are the top 3 things to know on your Tuesday. We could see gas prices go up today after attacks on oil facilities in Saudi Arabia. President Trump is walking back threats of rapid military action against Iran, who he says is likely behind those attacks. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is headed to the Saudi kingdom today for talks about a response.
And the second story we're following, more than 49,000 auto workers are on strike against General Motors this morning, and industry analysts say the walkout could cost GM tens of millions of dollars each day. Contract talks resumed yesterday. Employees say they're not getting a share of the company's profits a decade after making steep concessions to keep the company afloat through bankruptcy protection.
And rounding out the top 3 today, a bankruptcy hearing for Purdue Pharma starts in federal court. The maker of OxyContin filed for bankruptcy protection on Sunday. The company says that will help free up to $12 billion to help pay state and local governments for its role in the opioid epidemic. The judge could also decide if lawsuits against the Sackler family that owns Purdue can move forward.
Those are your top 3 things to know today. And now Hattie's here with your weather and traffic update. Good morning, Hads.
Good morning, Josh and Leah. We are starting off with a better start today than yesterday. We're not dealing with that thick fog here across most of southern Wisconsin. There is still just a little bit of fog to report, though. It's mainly south and east of Madison. Visibility is less than a mile in a few spots. The fog should lift by 10 o'clock this morning, and once again, another warm and humid day is expected. As you head out the door this morning, temperatures will be in the low 60s. We'll already be back into the 70s by lunchtime, heading to highs in the low 80s this afternoon. Still a bit of humidity to deal with for the second part of the day as well. Now, here's a look at your first alert traffic maps here in Madison. No major issues on the Beltline or any of those major routes heading into the city just yet. Looking at drive times and speeds, still normal for this time of the morning. And that's your first alert traffic.
Thank you very much, Hattie. Just into the Channel 3000 Alert Center. UW-Madison is warning its students to stay indoors after a burglary within the last few minutes here along Langdon Street near campus.
Police say the suspect ran away going southeast towards Henry Street. They're urging you to lock your doors and windows if you're in that area. Of course, we'll keep you updated on any new developments as they become available. Also new this morning, authorities confirming that a 21-year-old Madison man died in a car accident last night. It happened in Monona. That crash caused power outages for that surrounding area.
Our Keely Arthur is there live with the very latest this morning. Keely, what do we know so far?
Well, Josh and Leah, we are just steps away from where the crash happened. Authorities say a 21-year-old man drove into a pole. He was pronounced dead on the scene. Now, the accident causing power outages to the area. You can see there are still some down power lines. MG&E is on the scene working to rectify the situation right now. News 3 Now was here on the scene in the immediate aftermath of it around 7:20 p.m. last night. Authorities say the victim was driving at high speeds when he hit the pole and slammed into it at the 4600 block of Winnequa Road, a residential area in Monona. Now, the Monona Fire Department and police responded here. The Dane County Medical Examiner's office was also on hand. Now, the only silver lining to this, if there can really be one, is the fact that the driver was the only person in the vehicle, the only fatality, no other injuries to report. Roughly 20 homes still without power in Monona, but MG&E is working on the scene. Some of their cars have even driven away, so it looks like they are fixing things up. Hopefully the power will be restored in a few hours. We will bring you updates as we get them. Back to you.
All right, Keely Arthur reporting live for us this morning. Thank you very much, Keely.
All right, just ahead for us, you'll want to check your cupboards this morning as General Mills issues a big recall for flour. We'll have those details in the morning sprint.
And we are having a conversation about parent shaming, both online and in person. If you've experienced it, you're not alone. That story's next on News 3 Now this morning.
It's not
All right, welcome back at 6:40. We've been asking you to share your morning with us, and Jennifer sent us this photo of the Mississippi River sunset. She took this on a recent camping and fishing trip.
Ooh, Jennifer knows I love a good camping and fishing trip.
I was going to say, that sounds like Leah Linshine's trip.
It absolutely does, and I love the Mississippi River. The western part of the state, just gorgeous.
Oh, especially with the sunset, sunrise, whatever you're going to check out. This is the time of year, too.
We are a big fan. Thank you very much, Jennifer.
If you've got a morning, all you have to do is take a picture and post it on our Facebook page. All right, there is a new study out this morning that might resonate with any of you parents who've experienced judgment on social media. It turns out you are not alone.
Oh yeah, a survey of British parents found 1 in 5 have been accused of bad parenting by a complete stranger. You might expect to see a lot of that shaming online, maybe on social media, but 17% of respondents say they've had it happen out in public. 36% say, as a result, they're feeling like they're underperforming as a parent.
Very interesting there. All right, still ahead for us on a Tuesday morning. Another warm day today for the last official week of summer. Patty's monitoring the latest weather and traffic conditions for you coming up next.
But first, it is Tuesday, September 17th. We want to say happy birthday to Ella. What a cutie, and all the kiddos turning 3 today. Thanks so much for celebrating with us right here on News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. We're starting with a beautiful sunrise here in Madison. In fact, take a look at the WISC-TV Skycam shot. Sun is up. We have a little bit of cloud cover overhead, but that will clear as we go through the morning. We are dealing with a little bit of fog this morning, and the dense fog advisory has been expanded now to include Jefferson and Walworth counties. Still in effect until 10 o'clock, but those locations are seeing visibilities less than a mile. Watertown has visibility at 3/4 of a mile. There is some improvement right now in Monroe, back up to visibility of a mile. You can see that the fog is having a tough time pushing any further to the west. So not looking for widespread fog issues this morning, but if you are headed to Milwaukee or Racine and Kenosha earlier this morning, be prepared for some foggy conditions. Nothing showing up on the radar map right now around here. We have to zoom it out quite a ways, but you'll notice a little cluster of shower and thunderstorm activity across Minnesota, moving to the north and east. So that is not moving in our direction today. Our forecast is dry. The severe weather outlook does have a marginal risk for severe weather across Minnesota, but for the Badger State and the surrounding areas, things are looking pretty quiet today. Let's use that GFS future track forecast model, though, one that we can use to look longer into the future and show you what will happen as we go through the rest of the week. The quiet weather pattern continues today and tomorrow. This is Wednesday at 3. All the rain either to the north and west or moving around to the south of us. We'll have dry, warm and humid conditions through the middle of the week. Now, a weak cold front moves in late Wednesday into Thursday morning, bringing a chance for some rain. That front, though, is pretty weak and is actually going to lift back northward on Friday. So we keep the chances for rain in the forecast even into Friday morning. Otherwise, warm and humid weather will continue. A stronger system, though, moves in for the weekend here Saturday afternoon, and you can see some rain expected across southern Wisconsin with a stronger cold front. That system will clear the area as we go through the day on Sunday. More importantly, though, if you're looking for a break in the heat and humidity and maybe a transition to more fall-like conditions, that'll happen behind this system. So by Sunday, should be feeling a little bit more like fall. Until then, though, take a look at these mild temperatures. 70s all the way into Minneapolis this morning. It's 71. That's the current temperature. We're 63 here in Madison. Elsewhere across southern Wisconsin, temperatures are generally in the 60s, 64 in Lone Rock, 61 in Platteville. A few spots, though, have dropped into the 50s. 59 now in Boscobel. Watertown and Juneau are at 57 degrees. Our future track forecast model today has that fog and low-level cloudiness, mainly south and east of Madison. As we go through the morning hours, it dissipates. We're back to sunshine by lunchtime. Take the lunch outside today. Temperatures will be in the 70s. We're headed to highs, though, again in the 80s. So another warm and humid day. If you have plans this evening, no issues weather-wise. It will be warm. Temperatures not dropping back into the upper 60s until about 9 or 10 o'clock. Here's a look at your extended forecast then as we go through the rest of this week. It stays mild. Temperatures in the low 80s today, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and pretty close to 80 on Saturday. Again, a few chances for rain, but then turning a little bit more comfortable as we head into next week. Here's Honda in Madison.
Oh my goodness.
Already on a walk. What a pretty dog.
So pretty.
That's a beautiful dog.
Yeah, Honda's probably looking for some cooler weather, though. A lot of fur there.
I'm with you, Honda.
If Honda's looking for a pet walker, give me a call, girl. Love it. Thank you very much, Addie.
You're welcome.
All right, stay with us for the morning sprint, but first, here's what's coming up on CBS this morning. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS this morning, go inside a prison in Syria holding 5,000 ISIS fighters. You'll hear from some who say they're American and want to go home. Plus, preparing for the threat of severe flooding, how some coastal communities are using innovative ways to protect their land naturally. And only on CBS this morning, we'll reveal a list of the best new restaurants in the country. Yum, yum. See you at 7.
It is 6:51, time for the morning sprint as our team gives you more local news to start your Tuesday.
Let's start with Keely Arthur live at the scene of a deadly crash in Monona that could impact your morning commute. Hi, Keely.
Good morning, Leah and Josh. MG&E officials say the lights are back on in Monona following a fatal accident that led to power outages in the area overnight. Crews are fixing the situation, but as you can see, there are still some down power lines in the area. Now, to recap, News 3 Now was on the scene in the immediate aftermath of this accident that happened around 7:20 last night. Authorities say the victim was driving at high speeds when he went off the road and hit a pole at the 4600 block of Winnetka Road, a residential area in Monona. Monona Fire and police were on hand to help. Once again, the power is back on, and we will bring you updates as needed. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Keely. Illegal vaping cartridges made by two Kenosha County brothers are being tested this morning to see if they're connected to any illnesses or deaths. Tyler and Jacob Huffins are facing a combined 8 felonies in court after police found nearly 130,000 vaping cartridges and more than 100 pounds of THC oil. Prosecutors say the cartridges were 150 times stronger than the potency labeled on the packaging.
The man found in a bunker out in Portage County last month is facing 9 more charges of child pornography after appearing in court yesterday. Jeremiah Button's trial starts a week from tomorrow after hiding in his handmade bunker for more than 3 years. Even though Button disappeared before the first scheduled trial, he still doesn't face charges for his time allegedly spent in hiding.
A former Meriter Hospital nurse facing 19 felony counts of child abuse is prepared to enter a plea. Court records show Christopher Capham worked inside the neonatal intensive care unit between March of 2017 and February of 2018 when 9 babies were abused. A motion hearing is scheduled for the end of September for Capham. The trial is set to begin in October.
A national report on addressing climate change is highlighting Dane County's efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. How We Respond features 18 communities that have launched projects to reduce carbon footprints. Dane County's effort includes a building where methane from a landfill is converted into renewable energy gas.
A little bit of fog this morning, but not as widespread as yesterday. Take a look. The dense fog advisory now includes Jefferson and Walworth counties, as well as all the lakeshore counties. It's in effect until 10 o'clock. In those areas, visibility is less than a mile. In fact, down to just 1/8 of a mile in Waukesha. So if you're traveling to the east this morning, be aware of the fog. Otherwise, look for sunshine. Temperatures back in the low 80s this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Hattie. We could see gas prices go up today after attacks on oil facilities in Saudi Arabia. President Trump is walking back threats of rapid military action against Iran, who he says is likely behind these attacks. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is headed to the Saudi kingdom for talks about a response.
More than 49,000 auto workers are on strike against General Motors, and industry analysts say the walkout could cost GM tens of millions of dollars each day. Contract talks resumed yesterday. Employees say they're not getting a share in the company's profits, a decade after making steep concessions to keep the company afloat through bankruptcy protection.
A bankruptcy hearing for Purdue Pharma is being held today in federal court. The maker of OxyContin filed for bankruptcy protection just Sunday. The company says doing so will free up to $12 billion, which would help pay state and local governments. The judge will eventually decide if lawsuits against the Sackler family that owns Purdue can move forward.
For the first time in 11 months, no new measles cases were reported in a week. The CDC says the number of measles cases is still around 1,200 across 31 states. It is the largest outbreak in the U.S. since 1992.
General Mills pulling pounds of its all-purpose flour off the shelves this morning due to E. coli concerns. On Monday, General Mills announced it was voluntarily recalling 5-pound bags of its gold medal unbleached all-purpose flour. The recall only focuses on the flour with a use-by date of September 6, 2020. According to General Mills, that flour could potentially contain E. coli.
The Brewers are continuing their hot streak and keeping up in the National League wildcard race, beating the San Diego Padres last night at Miller Park 5-1. It's the Brewers' 10th win in their last 11 games. Former Padre Corey Spangelberg led the way for the Brewers, driving in 3 runs. The Cubs and Cardinals also won last night, meaning the Brewers are still a game behind the Cubs. They play San Diego again tonight at 6:40.
And breaking news within the last 10 minutes here. UW-Madison police say there is no longer an immediate threat after a burglary on Langdon Street near campus. Authorities are still looking for the suspect, but say people no longer have to shelter in place. We'll, of course, provide more updates as they become available.
6:56 right now. Jason Stone has a final look at your first alert traffic. Hi, Jason.
Hello. No issues on the Beltline as all lanes are at the posted speed limit. And only minor delays on John Nolan near Lakeside and at North Shore Drive. With your first alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
All right, a lot better morning commute than it was yesterday, Jason. Thank you very much.
That is true, especially here in Madison. Still that little bit of fog to the south and east of Dane County that you'll be dealing with this morning. Otherwise, look for partly sunny skies to turn mostly sunny for the afternoon. Beautiful sunrise underway here in Madison. Take a look at your day planner temperatures. Temps will climb from the 60s this morning, back into the 70s by lunchtime. Warm and humid this afternoon with a high of 82 degrees, but a lot of sun expected.
Beautiful day ahead. Thank you so much, Hattie. And thanks for joining us this morning, folks. Have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.